After the tea and coffee break, I hope you had great conversations and did some wonderful networking. And now, in 16th Gold Economic Forum, we are proceeding further with the first panel discussion for the day on the theme Financialization of Gold, Challenges, Opportunities, and Outlook. Once again, I request everyone to kindly settle down and please keep your mobile phones on silent mode so that we don't disturb the speakers. Thank you. For the panel discussion on financialization of gold, challenges, opportunities, and outlook, I request our esteemed panelists to kindly join us on stage. Mr. Chirag Mehta, Chief Investment Officer, Quantum Asset Management Company Private Limited. Mr. Naveen Malhotra, Director, Sberbank, India. Mr. Bhargava Vaidya, BN Vaidya and Associates. Mr. Manish Goel, Head Bullion Desk, Global Markets Group, ICICI Bank Limited. And Mr. Umesh Kumar Mehta, Executive Director, CIO and Fund Manager, Samco Mutual Funds. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our esteemed panelists for the first panel discussion of the day. Can we have a big round of applause, please? Thank you so much. And last but not the least, I request our moderator, Mr. S.K. Jindal, Chairman, National Council on Commodity Markets and Investments, ASSOCHAM, and Chairman, Jindal Exports and Imports, to kindly join us and go ahead with the first panel discussion of the day on financialization of gold, challenges, opportunities, and outlook. Over to our moderator.
Friends, once again, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to this first panel, very important panel and very interesting panel, which brings a lot of information to you. We have the best of the panelists available in these fields of financialization of gold, challenges, opportunities, and outlook. Time is limited 45 minutes. So what we have decided that we will talk to you more rather than asking questions. And in the process, we can lose time. But after the end of each presentation, you can ask your questions, which we'll be very happy to take. This panel will be discussing more on financialization of gold, everything connected with what we are seeing nowadays, which player has got what role in this, how the market is made complete and competitive by the government policies. Government also has done tremendous reforms in gold in the last 30 years, which I have seen. And practically we have all the products available which are available worldwide. So we cannot say that this product is not available, which we used to say earlier, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, that this is not possible here, that is not possible. But now practically all products government has made available. And I heard that sovereign bonds, ETFs, they are working very well amongst the people, and they feel very happy because they bring lot of convenience, lot of ease of doing investments, and people are happy with it. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Chirag Mehta, Chief Investment Officer, Quantum Asset Management Company Private Limited. He does magic with your money. He invested it such a way that come what may, he is able to handle or minimize the risk associated with it. So I would like all of you to hear what he has to say to you. All these panelists have done very much hard work to present to you their best. So please listen them carefully. Thank you. And let's have a round of applause for Mr. Chirag Mehta.
Thank you, Jindal ji, and thank you, ASSOCHAM, for having me here. Uh, if you look at gold markets, right, the financialization of gold, from an investment perspective, has happened significantly over last 2 years largely. It was in the making. There were, the ground set up for this leap that we saw over last 2 years. 2 years back, gold ETFs in India were at about 28,000 crores in all ETFs combined. Today, all gold ETF combined are 1.8 lakh crore. Last year, we saw gold ETFs saw net inflows of 66,000 crores. We import about 4 lakh crores in India every year, right? Of which 66,000 crores is close to 16% coming into gold through ETF way. So we have come a long way. 2007 gold ETF started in India. Of course, Bhargava has been witness to that event that took place then. We started close to about 100 crores in 2007. And today, 1.8 lakh crore, we have come a long way, right? Earlier, we saw surge in, SGB, sovereign gold bonds. Of course, government stopped issuing it because of its own reasons. Post which people were looking for avenues to invest in gold more efficiently. And somewhere, people are bifurcating between what is for consumption and what is for investment. And consumption, you don't have a choice, you have to go to jewelry. But when it comes to investing, they are now choosing or becoming aware of various efficient ways of investing in gold, and gold ETFs is one of them. Now, this trend is here to stay, but fortunately or unfortunately, bulk of the inflows, we saw 24,000 crores of gold ETF flows come in January. And January was the peak that we saw in gold markets, when we saw gold hitting about $5,500. In that month, we saw highest inflows that we ever saw in gold ETFs. And in that month, it was higher than equity inflows in India, which is again a remarkable thing. But it's time that we stop chasing the trend or chasing returns where they are made and investing more decisively and allocating it more wisely into asset classes like gold. We tell investors that, you tend to have about 15 to 20% allocation to gold, and it helps portfolios significantly. It does not compromise at that level on overall portfolio returns, and it minimizes the risk of portfolios significantly at that point in time. So whenever there has been a 2 standard deviation event in equity markets, gold has come to the rescue. Be it 2008 global financial crisis or be it the COVID crisis, gold has certainly helped portfolios. Or rather, we tell investors that invest in gold today and pray hard it falls by 50% the next day. Many investors come and stare at us saying, what are you saying? Invest in gold and pray hard it falls by 50% the next day. If you have invested 15 rupees out of 100 rupees in gold, and if it falls by half, it goes to 7.5, your 85 probably would be doing much, much better. And you wouldn't care about that 7.5 that is left in gold. But if your 85% is not doing well, you better have that 15% in gold. So we at Quantum tell investors that you need to have what we call as 12-20-80 as your allocation that will help you tide any event that you see in financial markets. 12 months of emergency reserves, 12 months of expenses, 80% in equities and 20% in gold helps you come a long way. But, we have seen that this growth in gold ETFs come through and people allocating to gold, what was a 2 to 5% allocation, has now increased, even advisors telling 10 to 15% allocation to gold. Right? There are multi-asset funds that invest in gold and allocate at least 10% in gold. So there is a trend towards allocating in gold as opposed to looking at it from a return perspective, saying that the utility of gold is much higher in a portfolio standpoint as opposed to just looking at from a return standpoint. But when we talk about financialization, I think the Tarapur committee report said that instruments like gold ETF could be a stepping stone towards making gold into making more gold a financial asset, or bringing gold into a financial stream as opposed to saying it lying in the lockers. And it is coming from a thought process that you tend to have accumulation of gold, and then you can channelize it into financial world. And today we have come closer with instruments like gold ETF to making gold be like a currency. You can easily transfer gold, and of course, norms have to go further to enable that transparency or enable that transferability in a bigger way. But we are coming closer to that. But overall in the ecosystem, we all have to work together. There has to be fungibility all levels. Can I not surrender my gold ETF units and exchange jewelry against it when I want to consume it? So there are issues within the ecosystem that should allow flow of gold from one form to the other very, very easily, very, very fungibly. And that will help financialize gold in a bigger way. So you have much of the ecosystem here, but we are not working in a synchronized or cohesive manner to be able to take advantage of the gold that we have in India. There is about $5 trillion of gold, about 15 to 20% of wealth lies in gold. Can we channelize it to more productive uses? Certainly the answer is yes, but I think the ecosystem has to work together to channelize that gold, come into the mainstream as an asset to be able to use that. Can I not spend my gold? So if people are choosing to have 20% of their wealth in gold, they are taking a call that, gold probably helps me safeguard from the currency depreciation that I have year on year, and therefore I want to be in gold. And hence, can I spend the gold anytime I need? Can I spend my gold ETF units on a real-time basis? Is it possible? It's easily possible because of the electronic way of holding that units. So today it is certainly possible, but I think there have to be regulations that need to evolve. There has to be the ecosystem that needs to evolve for making it really possible. So I think investors are moving in the right direction. Maybe it's time for the policy and the ecosystem to step up to enable the alignment that investors want and making it more financialized.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chirag. If audience has one question, we can take now, and then we proceed to the second panelist. Anybody? Yes, please.
Why did gold fall by, rose by 10% and next day fall by 10% in the month of January, I suppose? Why was it a very volatile in 2 single days? Why? Do you have any idea?
So, see, it is a financially linked asset, right? So there are many levers that will lead to the rise and fall. So earlier, there were concerns about, policy making in the US, the way it's shaping up, geopolitical concerns, etc., which was leading to that run-up that we saw in gold markets. But, as the war started, one would have said that gold should have gone up much more as opposed to fall down. But, there are certain financial linkages that it has. The dollar became stronger. The yields started moving up. And the large areas of demand like India, China, Middle East were under stress. And hence, there was no demand support at that point in time as well, which kind of led to that fall. But is there fundamentally anything that has, derailed for gold? I don't think so. The fundamental reason for gold is still there. And probably, this is probably an opportunity that one should look at. If you don't have enough allocation, this is a great time to build your allocation.
You see, one moment. You see the uncertainties prevailing now and the extreme of uncertainties. They de-link the normal situations, and it is the uncertainty which is making it so volatile. The solution lies there. Until such time uncertainties will remain, uh, volatility will remain with it. It will never go. You might have, if you see the history of thousands of years, it has happened like this only. Thank you. Now I would request Mr. Naveen Malhotra, Director, Sberbank India. Sberbank, a Russian bank, our very good friend, Russia. They are very active in gold and they have a history behind them that how to deal with it in a effective manner and efficient manner. So let's hear what he has to say to all of you about his views on gold market before, now, and in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jindal sir, for this opportunity, and thanks ASSOCHAM for having me here. Let me, put some context because many of you might not have heard of this organization, Sberbank. It's the largest bank of Russia. It is also the largest corporate of Russia, and of course, largest employer in the private sector. So in India, we've been here for about 15 years with one branch in Delhi and now our second branch in Mumbai as well. And we plan to expand. It's a conglomerate in Russia. And one of the business holdings that it has is owning a gold mine and, export of gold from Russia. And that is, one of the business agendas of this entity here in India as well. So I would like to, first put my perspective as to how can we expedite financialization of gold in India. Of course, we have a stellar panel here today, and I'm quite sure that nothing that I say would be, would add any value that this panel cannot add in terms of the domestic market. But just to add, give a few points. Of course, we need a lot of tax incentives. The ultimate problem is the change of behavior, the cultural moorings that we have with gold as a society. And I think tax incentives could probably go a long way. We have done pretty well in terms of gold loan penetration by NBFCs, and now banks have also come into it. And I think we can, at least in that area, look at the next step of, maybe adding securitization of these the credit portfolio that, these NBFCs have, which can further free up balance sheets and give room for further, growth on the credit aspect. There can always be, free trading. Chirag talked about lowering of exit barriers, and I second him. And probably this brings me to the Russian experience that has happened there, especially since post-Ukraine war. Of course, Russia had to build passive, gold reserves to tackle the risks associated with the war and with the sanctions. But they did not stop there. Apart from creating these reserves, the next step was obviously to utilize gold, and they did it by way of using it as a settlement mechanism for bilateral trade, which of course is a big lesson that we can take. We are anyways working towards, well, tacitly of course, towards de-dollarization. A lot of countries are. Gold can be a good mechanism towards that aspect. In Russia, banks started offering, bank account, like you have bank accounts, savings accounts, they offered gold accounts. You can hold your gold as bank balance, in Russia, and you can freely trade with gold through bank accounts itself. In India, of course, we have this amazing opportunity that we've done well with, which is UPI infrastructure, which can be leveraged to further extend the tradability of gold and transactions in gold. And lastly, I think the world has seen miracle of technology coming with innovation by way of Bitcoin and such currencies. I think if we have to build this trust, if we have to support transactions in gold with trust. Technology is there. There can be blockchain. There can be other technologies. There can be sovereign, guarantees, etc. And coupled with technologies like UPI or the free tradability. So I think there is definitely a massive opportunity given the reserves we have, the opportunity we have to utilize those reserves towards, say, bilateral trade settlements and inclusion, financial inclusion. Unfortunately, while ETFs have been a very good story, great story, but more of it, and Chirag can correct me if I'm wrong, more of it is centered in the urban India. It is not really a rural India story yet. And I think UPI can help bridge that gap. Investments through UPI into ETFs, for example. So I think, in a nutshell, technology has a big role to play. We can definitely, learn lessons from other countries like Russia, as I mentioned. But I do hope that by the end of this, this conversation today, we'll leave with, a few concrete ideas, workable ideas. So that's my 2 cents there. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your views, Mr. Naveen. Any questions from the floor, please? Yes, please.
Sir, I'm Dr. Jagdish Shivhare, professor and ex-scientist ISRO. Sir, my question, how do we manage the gold degradation risk, and why is the gold purchase considered as barrier to India's growth?
Gold degradation risk, you mean the price volatility, right? See, of course, like any other investment instrument, as Chirag also mentioned, volatility is associated with it. But, it is a risk for as long as you consider it to be a very high risk. Ultimately, if you're an educated investor, you would know that the long-term trajectory has been upward, right? So, if from an investor point of view, I think others in the panel who handles these investments would be better commentators on that front. But if I were to talk about as a country, it is just like any other risk, like currency risk for that matter. So, not much of a difference on that front.
How many dollars US has freezed of Russian account?
I think it's a public information, more or less, but I can tell you that it's quite a bit too much.
How many billions you tell us? Don't tell us other small figure, tell us the billions.
Yeah, well, it is closer to closer to about $1 trillion.
About $1 trillion?
Closer to, yeah. If you consider the oligarchs, if you consider the individual as well, the other assets, not only in terms of money in the accounts, but if you consider all assets put together, it would be close to $1 trillion.
Had you bought gold before that, you would have been saved? As simple as that.
I guess so, but the hindsight is always 20/20, as they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
India has withdrawn quite a bit of money from them.
Sir, but why is it considered as a barrier to India's growth? Why the gold purchase is considered as barrier to the India's growth? What is meant by that?
I think maybe it's not aptly put. Purchase of gold is not barrier. An inability to use that gold, because it is a financial asset. Our inability to channelize that purchase, channelize that asset into a productive financial instrument, that is actually the barrier, not the purchase, I think.
But Naveenji, tell me, everything is not buying and selling. Insurance policies, you put your money in insurance, every year you pay premium and all. What it gives you?
Yes, a mental peace.
So mental peace, and COVID was a big example of that. People got saved. They could save their life because they were well covered with gold. Had they not been covered with gold, the scene would have been different. So everything cannot be only money, money, money. You have to save your peace also. What is your message to Ukraine now? Ukraine.
To Ukraine.
Yes.
I don't have any message for Ukraine. I think the messages are being
Let
sent.
them fight and finish.
The messages are being sent by the Russian Federation on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. Friends, with this, I would like to now invite Mr. Bhargava Vaidya, the last. He is Bhish Pitama of gold industry. So I will like to invite now Mr. Manish Goel, Head, Bullion Desk, Global Markets Group, ICICI Bank. Such a par in the country, such a size, they move and the market also moves with them. So Mr. Manish Goel.
Thank you, Mr. Jindal, and thank you, ASSOCHAM, for giving me this opportunity. So, coming to the topic financialization of gold, and I will talk specifically with the role of banks. So, as banks, we are part of the bullion ecosystem by way of being a nominated agency, where we get license to import and sell gold and silver in India. So as that particular intermediary, we provide metal liquidity to the market, and we also provide working capital in the form of metal loans to gem and jewelry sector. The second part is basically on the gem and jewelry, on the jewel loan side, like NBFCs. The banks have also become very active in this particular product by way of accepting jewelry as collateral and extending short-term loans to individuals, to MSME sector. And that has actually been a very constructive way of utilization of gold, where the gentleman asked a question like why gold is treated as a tax or not as a non-productive. So this particular product helps in terms of providing finance to the needy, and especially helps the MSME sector to get the working capital requirement. Apart from this, we also provide custody services to the mutual funds. Like when you buy ETFs, they buy gold to back that ETF, and that storage and safekeeping of gold, the banks like us also provide that custody service to the mutual fund industry. Is that enough? I guess a lot more can be done. As we see, like the liberalization of the policies started way back in 1998, 1999, where the banks became a part of this ecosystem. But in the last 15, 20 years, the way the world has changed, probably the bank's role in this particular industry has not been expanded to that extent. And just to give an example, like what Naveen mentioned, there are products available in the global financial markets where the banks provide accounts denominated in gold, deposits denominated in gold, and other many more products, retail-facing products. So if we see as a country, we had a wonderful product which was sovereign gold bonds, where again the banks were one of the major distributors of that to the retail investors, and that had really reached the masses. It had gone to the rural and to a great extent to a tier 2, tier 3 economy. However, because of some reasons it has been stopped. I think there is a gap to be filled, which can be filled by banks because of their reach and ease of transaction and trust which people have on the banking system for financial assets. So it's a time when, as policy, we should start looking at more products which the banks can offer in this space for the retail investors, so that, as also mentioned, gold can be in two forms. One is the consumption part, one is the investment part. So at least the investment part of the gold doesn't leave the financial system since inception. So since someone starts investing, the gold remains within the financial system if the product is offered by the banks. So that's it from my side. If there are any questions.
Yes, please. House. Yes, please.
I have a question to Mr. Manish Goel. Sir has just told that you are the Bhishma Pitama of this side. Now this panel discussion is monetization, and my question is only on monetization. As we have heard in the morning that some of the speakers, they have told that 2,500 metric ton of gold is kept in India in various temples. If we monetize 25% of the gold, keeping today's prices, then this price comes to 3 to 5 lakh crores. My question is, what are the potential challenges of monetizing gold stored in temples? Thank you.
See, specifically when we speak to temples, there are not, I wouldn't say there are challenges, because temples have been placing gold deposits with the banking system since the last 20 years. Like right from early 2000, there have been deposits which this temple trust place with the banks. Having said that, the temple trusts have their internal policies based on which they decide the institutions with whom they deal for their banking needs and with whom they would place not only gold deposit but rupee deposits or any kind of financial transaction which they do. So the deposits have been there, and they have been the main source of collection so far in the earlier GDS and the new GMS scheme, because from the retail public, the collections have been very minuscule, not as good as nothing. So I wouldn't say there are challenges. So the deposits do come, but not to the magnitude which you mentioned. But yeah, they are meaningful numbers.
They lack an ordinance. I personally feel all this money should be in the hands of banks. They know how to handle money. Not with those temples itself, where every time you hear that something, some mishap has happened, some misappropriation has happened, and you tend to believe it. Why to give possibility of such chances at all? This is people's money, came to God, should be used for people in return. Why only few pujaris should have their hand laid on it? Every time you hear such things, this is not good. No government is willing to do that. They think that if we do, we will lose our vote bank or something like that.
Sir, in fact, indirectly, I was asking the same question, whether this whole of the gold can be kept in the custody of a government of India. Yes or no?
आप वो बात क्यों पूछते हैं जो पूछने के काबिल नहीं है?
Thank you.
आप वही बात पूछ रहे हैं जो पूछने के काबिल नहीं. गवर्नमेंट के एंड पे विलिंगनेस होगी ना, जब उन्होंने 3 तलाक किया वो बाकी भी कर देंगे. लेकिन लोगों के हाथ में, उन लोगों के हाथ में हम छोड़ रहे हैं उस पैसे को जो लॉजिकली नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. मेरा ऐसा मानना है, और मैं बहुत दिनों से इसके ऊपर सोच रहा हूँ. अभी मुझे 30 साल इस व्यापार में हो गए बुलियन में. मुझे इसका सोल्यूशन नहीं मिला है. शायद आपको भी वेट करना पड़ेगा इसके लिए. गोल्ड लोन जब आप देते हैं तो कितना फ़र्क होता है गोल्ड लोन में, अगर सिक्योरिटी गोल्ड हो या सिक्योरिटी दूसरी कोई हो?
गोल्ड मेटल लोन जो अपन देते हैं वर्किंग कैपिटल के लिए, उसमें गोल्ड का कोलैटरल एज ऑफ नाउ नहीं लेते हैं. बट थ्योरेटिकली अगर गोल्ड लेते भी हैं तो उसमें जो मार्जिन कॉल का जो प्रोविज़न रहता है वो फिर इट शुड ऑटोमेटिकली टेक केयर ऑफ इट, क्योंकि असेट और लाइबिलिटी दोनों का प्राइस मूवमेंट सेम रहेगा. अभी जो अपन गोल्ड मेटल लोन कोलैटरल के अगेंस्ट लिमिट सैंक्शन करके देते हैं, तो बिकॉज द कोलैटरल इज़ वैल्यूड इन INR और गोल्ड इंटरनेशनल करेंसी है, तो गोल्ड के मूवमेंट के कारण मार्जिन कॉल्स आते हैं. सो दैट चैलेंज कैन बी.
कॉल की बात नहीं, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट की बात कर.
रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट देन इट विल वर्क समथिंग लाइक FD OD. जैसे FD OD हम रुपी में करते हैं तो FD + 1%, FD + 0.5% में ही दे देते हैं.
लेकिन वो सिक्योरिटी इतनी सॉलिड है. मान लो आपने 60% भी दिया उसके सामने या 70% भी दिया, सिक्योरिटी तो सॉलिड है.
अच्छा, आप रुपी फाइनेंस की बात कर रहे हैं अगेंस्ट गोल्ड कोलैटरल. तो रुपी फाइनेंस अगेंस्ट गोल्ड कोलैटरल अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 80% तक होता है अभी LTV, और उसमें रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट वुड बी very close to the MCLR of the bank. MCLR के जो rates रहते हैं रुपी के उसके आसपास
Approximately कितना है आज?
Approximately मेरे ख्याल से 8-9% के आसपास होगा for a 6 months to 1 year loan.
So this is what is the difference between this rate and the normal rate of lending?
देखिए ये जो जनरली ज्वेल लोन है ये इंडिविजुअल्स ले रहे हैं, तो अगर किसी को पर्सनल लोन लेना है या व्हीकल लोन लेना है तो व्हीकल लोन में भी द व्हीकल इटसेल्फ इज मॉर्गेज्ड अगेंस्ट द लोन, तो उसके कंपैरिजन में गोल्ड लोन वुड बी better or the lower interest rate compared to a vehicle loan.
Thank you very much. And friends, now I would like to invite Mr. Umesh Kumar Mehta, Executive Director, CIO and Fund Manager, Samco Mutual Fund. Executive Director भी आप हैं, CIO भी आप हैं, Fund Manager भी आप हैं. कोई और है वहाँ पर?
है ना सर?
Investor भी आप हैं?
बिल्कुल.
So we are all looking forward to that.
On this planet, total gold which is available is 2,20,000 tons. Annual production is 3,000 tons. Demand is slightly higher, and actually that gets taken care from the existing stock of gold. The current mines that are available, that are doing mining, can last for next 15 years. After that, obviously the mines will keep on increasing their proven reserves. So by far, gold is one of the greatest and will remain one of the greatest asset. Last 20 years, the returns of gold was comparable to the returns of equities. So the point is that gold should form part of investors' assets. Technically, in stock market, the supply can be unlimited. All companies will come and bring IPOs, promoters can partly sell the shares, but the supply on the gold side is restricted. There is, you can't increase the supply because it takes a lot of time. So by far the demand-supply equation of gold is equally good from long-term perspective, and one needs to really seriously consider gold. So the next point is, do you still need a static allocation of gold, 10, 15, 20%? Answer is no. If the time is ripe, you should have gold up to 50, 60, 70% of your portfolio, because gold historically has proven a great assets. Gold is a dead commodity. Gold cannot manipulate itself. Stocks, companies can manipulate themselves, and therefore those are the risks. Therefore, gold by far is one of the great assets as far as the risk-adjusted returns are concerned. So coming to how investors modern day investors should take advantage. So just like technology is there are smart asset managers who, using smart algorithms, identify if the trend of the gold is high compared to equity, they will take gold allocation up to 60, 70%. And this in a mutual fund product, wherein there is a tax efficiency and you can get advantage of gold. Or if gold is not working, you can take equities exposure and get the equity return. I think this is what investors should look at, given the advancement of technology, given the advancement of systems, processes, and so many asset managers are there, and more such asset managers will come. So you should try and look at those things. I think I was sharp and quick. Any questions? Yes. Yeah.
You have given many wonderful data.
किसी और को भी मौका दे दो डॉक्टर साहब, किसी और को भी मौका दे दो, और ये अवेलेबल रहेंगे इसके बाद ना, आप आराम से बैठ करके चाय के ऊपर चर्चा कीजिएगा इनसे. Any questions, please? So the point of view you made is absolutely clear to them. Now I would request Bhish Pitama of gold industry, Mr. Bhargava Vaidya, B.N. Vaidya and Associates, who has come on our request, especially from Bombay. He got up, 3 o'clock? 3:30? Yeah. 3:30. And took the flight, arrived here. And in gold industry, everybody follows him because he is always thinking about gold industry and he always have good solutions on gold industry, how to understand it, how to deal with it, but not on the point of volatility, but otherwise. But now maybe he has expertised in volatility also. So we would like to hear you, Mr. Bhargava.
Thank you for your invitation first, Jindal Sam and ASSOCHAM both. And I think nobody in the gold industry can say no if Jindal Saab just says, I wish that you are there. So that he has. I am feeling nervous. You can see my hand is shaking because except for least amount of hair, my knowledge is not there. But yes, I can consider myself a serious student of the subject. And before coming here, I pulled out my first presentation at ASSOCHAM. And that time we used to talk about prices and movement and all that international market. And maybe at that time only I learned that our Gold Control Act or the Chinese Silver Control Act and the think about silver also being in the central government reserves and all that are all ideas of US. In past, I would just like, so much thing has been said about the gold rarity and the thing, but somehow it is a noble metal. Therefore, it is there. It doesn't get tarnished. It is easily identifiable. And I don't have an answer for this. In this room, there is less than 1 gram of gold. And the cost of recovery is $5,000 also, which is more than the current price, it will be recovered. So it's a noble metal, it's a unique quality. Why it has got, we don't know, but it is there. With that background, when I thought, let me see what is gold. And all my presentations, I used to like to say, it is store of value. My intelligent colleagues will say, if it is store of value, why will I keep on investing? But it is different. Then, if you remember, that in past we had gold standards from 1880 to 1914, then disturbed by World War, and then again after Second World War, when the system was not proper, we had a Bretton Woods agreement, which tagged gold price to US dollar. It was earlier at $20, and President Roosevelt, I think, made it $35. So if you want to think about returns on gold, you should first thank Richard Nixon, a very popular US president, somebody similar to the present one also. Nobody from US, I may be arrested otherwise. So that, who abolished the Bretton Woods Agreement, and that paved the way for the first contract of gold on COMEX. So at present also, when you want to see gold movement, see what US president is saying or doing. So that is the only correlations I found to this. So that is there. So you can find that the market perception and market movement is the most important thing which moves gold. Not some presentations and other things we are always identifying. One thing, though I'm an absolute novice, till say 92, 93, I don't know anything about gold, not even how many grams to a tola, or so many times I've said this. When I learned around the thing, one thing I learned, that gold was very, very liquid because you can sell it 24/7. At night also you go to your jeweler and it can get sold. But that thing stopped during COVID. And we found that jeweler was also not interested in anybody entering his house or office. But our industry had a solution to that also. We developed digital gold. And I think all of them were quoting the price 24/7. And we had a thing which is very, very liquid. And in the smallest form, maybe it is 10 rupees, 100 rupees, a liquid digital gold is available. And for most good players, it is backed by gold and it is properly done. For slightly larger and structured players, all my friends here have ETF. I don't want to get into the past where, how many years we were behind the world. When the first application was filed, some of them are in this audience also, we would have been the world movers. And maybe the entire world ETF would have been in India. I have been troubling Gautam ji here that he has created infrastructure in SEZ. You create your walls that the world gold ETF and silver ETF market moves to GIFT City, because there we are the strongest. And we have a strength that in case a liquidity to be realized and put in the market, maybe any amount can be disposed of in India. So we have a structures now in place that where we can be world leaders, and as we were trying, we may be price setters. My old presentation, some of them who have been around for a long time will remember. Like I used to call it earlier Mumbai Bullion Fix because to copying London. Now let's call it India Bullion Fix. And all the products of the exchanges will be there. Let's also have the spot market and a structured, what somebody was saying in the morning on EGR. We have a solution to EGRs, which will solve the problems about getting the gold out from the household. One thing I will like to make a comment here, that sovereign gold bond did pick up and we all like it. And it was the best retail investment. At the same time, old gold deposit scheme or gold monetization scheme was launched. The person who were to use that gold were not rightly intensivized, or maybe they had other ways to do it which was more profitable, so did not push it. Whether the bank should be active, the NBFC should be active, or jewelers should be active, I think we'll request ASSOCHAM to make a study paper to do it. My friend on the left who was mentioning about, I think, Tirupati Trust, which was a SBI deposit. But he was managing the entire deposit in his previous organization. I don't know whether you still do it. Because here that structure bank to bank is different. And unfortunately, in this hall we can talk and we do it. But otherwise, gold is a neglected thing in entire international commodity market and sector. I was telling all of them, reminding everybody else that even when it comes to Basel III, when it comes to gold, they don't even classify it as an ultimate liquid asset. So if I have a gold to be delivered and I'm a Basel III bank, under less than 1 month contract on an exchange, I have to provide 100% liquid assets for it. So it doesn't make sense when you have an asset with something like that. But yes, we have a very, very weak representation. How many people are interested? Not there. But in India, it is a very, very popular subject. In past, we used to say that there are more people holding gold than bank accounts. It is still a fact. There are more people having gold than those are having demat accounts. So we have to take everybody together, and maybe some structural reforms. Stop me, I keep on talking, you know that. that we have this entire infrastructure of NBFC and the banking system to support us. More for NBFCs who are in the grassroots level, that they can help collect the gold And if not all the past, at least all the future savings can be properly digitalized. If you start the future savings, if the most conservative estimate would be more than 15-20%. If that from retail goes in a structured form in a saving through NBFC, through digital gold, and if digital gold are allowed to invest in EGR, I'm sure they will all do it. If GST is a problem unique to India, because I don't know of any other developed country which has VAT on gold. Jewelry, it is there. Is there anywhere? So even in Dubai, nowhere it is there. It is only in India that we have GST on gold. So that has been an issue that we are having a problem. If, I think as a market, we may agree that if the government says GST has to be paid, rather we pay and get off the ground. I'm sure the digital players will come on board, jewelers will come on board, the others will follow. But then we have to provide, just like ETF, the chain is not broken. I think, sir, you will remember how much we worked hard to get the VAT and GST also on it. Chirag also has spent so much time on a subject which was not theirs. But we have to, if we want to go forward, let's have solutions rather than problems, and we go ahead with a solution proposed, then we will be seeing it for future. And then I hope the question which you are asking, that gold is a discouraging investment or dead investment, nobody will ask. Maybe up to some extent, it could be that we used to be saying that strong currency dollar shy the country is. So where you allocate the dollars, the government has a right. But it doesn't mean that you will have a problem. There could be times. Our friend here, Naveen, had a lot of solutions saying that if you buy oil and gold from me, most of your problems are solved. Off the records we were talking, and it can happen, so that's not an issue. So a holistic approach can be taken, and we will have a much, much more healthier and a better gold market.
Thank you, Bhargava. Friends, to make best use of his visit, if you have any questions, you can ask now, and you can ask outside also, because this session time was over already. So, I have the mic. Bhar, you will get more time. Small question, but long answer he will give you. भार ले लीजिएगा और छोड़िएगा नहीं, वैसे तो आप पकड़ेंगे तो ये पकड़ में आ जाएंगे. Yes, friends. Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. इधर ये आपने डिजिटल गोल्ड के बारे में बताया, तब हम तनिष्क पे या पैम्प की बात करूँगा मैं. जब हम वहाँ पे डिजिटल गोल्ड लेते हैं और जब हम उसकी सेफ्टी या क्रेडिबिलिटी या ट्रस्ट के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो साफ साफ लिखा हुआ आता है उनके वेबसाइट पे भी और थर्ड पार्टी सोर्सेज में कि डिजिटल गोल्ड इंडिया में एक अनरेगुलेटेड स्पेस है. ये अभी रेगुलेटरी परव्यू में नहीं आया है, सेबी या एफएमसी किसी के भी परव्यू में नहीं आता है. तो इज़ द डिजिटल गोल्ड इंडस्ट्री और योर इंडस्ट्री और लॉबी वर्किंग ऑन इट? क्योंकि जब तक वो डिजिटल गोल्ड रेगुलेटरी परव्यू में नहीं आएगा तो उसका मार्केट एक्सपैंड नहीं होगा, ग्राहक उसमें जुड़ना नहीं चाहेगा.
एसआरओ कर ही सकते हैं. गोल्ड मार्केट इतना बड़ा है, कोई रेगुलेटर था कोई भी मार्केट में. सो कोई भी इनोवेशन के लिए मे बी इट हैज टू स्टार्ट समवेयर, एंड इफ यू हैव अ वेरी गुड systems and your own regulation is stronger, it doesn't need, regulation ki kab, definitely it has been suggested for this also, but abhi nahi aaya because zarurat nahi hai. अगर आप बोलेंगे कि जो एक गाइडलाइन पोस्ट की गई है और आपको उसका रिस्क पता है, आपको करना है तो करिए. आज आप कोई भी चीज खरीदते हैं, everything is not to be licensed. We are getting out of license raj. If you still want to go back, it's fine. But if you're asking industry point of view, if not from SEBI, I'm surely industry is working on, more than one unit I know working on, that we have a very, very strong self-regulatory organization working on it. And the people working on it just now are much, much stricter than the SEBI established regulations. I don't know. I can speak to you on offline because I don't want to hurt many people here or in the and send a wrong signal about how things have changed in some of the regulated products also.
Thank you,
Our
Bhargava.
biggest scams are in regulated product only. I have never seen a AA company going bankrupt. AAA बहुत देखी है.
Sure. Thank you. Somebody was showing his hand from here. Yes, please. अरे साहब आपको नहीं छोड़ा आप मैंने तो आपको यही दे दिए इनको आप इनको ले जाना बाहर.
Sir, so I'm part of gold lending business. I'm part of Aditya Birla Capital. So as we all know, there's a mandatory norm by the BIS. Hallmarking adoption still remains uneven. And the infrastructure and enforcement gaps are still there. So how, as an industry, we are addressing those gaps? Because without uniform hallmarking, valuation risk remains inherent in gold lending. And I think that is the only risk which we face as an NBFC.
See, all NBFCs do their own evaluation, and at least we have started. It's more than 80% of the country is covered by hallmarking, not fully. Because if there are some districts which does not have a hallmarking center, how will you hallmark there? And most of the jewelry which you get will be old jewelry. At that time, there was no hallmark. So if you started it on a day, maybe further down the line, everything will be hallmarked. But if you had brought it saying, no, bring back the old jewelry and get it hallmarked, it's not going to work. So I am not worried about assessment by any gold financing company. Anyway, LTV was never more than 80. It was 70 to 80. So you were safe and you were expected to check what the jewelry is. So I think only on hallmarking, none of the other lending people are depending on.
So even
Manish, confirm what you are doing?
Yes.
Yeah, it is independently checked. You are not dependent on the hallmark alone.
That is the issue actually, because all ornaments are not being hallmarked. So it is completely a personal dependency nowadays.
Well, I request the audiences that we can take these questions offline because we are running short of time. We have to start another panel discussion of ours. But thank you so much for asking the questions.
Miss, I have a question.
Sure, sir. Please go ahead.
Bhargava bhai, I would like to hear your views on temple gold. What do you want to say?
I think if correctly intensivized to the collecting agencies, you will get it. And at present, most of the temples, progressive temples are ready to do it. And many of the temples who were not so popular in past and are doing it have taken another view. They are auctioning it and putting the money into some other charitable use. I'm naming about Siddhivinayak. Some of the old temples, because of the, they have a particular charter, which to change is so difficult and generally not allowed very easily, they would be holding gold only. In Bombay, I know of more than one temple which is auctioning. Everywhere they are doing. So yes, we can collect the additional thing, or now whenever you go to many of these temples, they only say you buy this thing or you pay this thing. For gold चढ़ाना है उससे आप digital gold या ETF लेके ही चढ़ाओ और वही आप invest करो. So that let's stop the future accumulation, then past accumulation will be correct. And as you rightly said, that if we have a good gold depository system in place, then it will go. EGR may be a better format because if the trustees feel that we need this money, they can liquidate and put it in other better charitable use.
Right.
While in gold deposit, the liquidity part was slightly difficult. You cannot just sell it the way you want.
Thank you very much, friends. I would request all of you to let's hear a good round of applause for my panel. They have been giving.
Thank you so much, everybody. And that was a very interesting last question. We can have an absolutely fantastic roundtable discussion on temple gold. So thank you so much. Definitely would like to thank all our esteemed panelists, Mr. Chirag Mehta, Chief Investment Officer, Quantum Asset Management Company Private Limited, Mr. Naveen Malhotra, Director, Sberbank India, Mr. Bhargava Vaidya from BN Vaidya and Associates, Mr. Manish Goel, Head Bullion Desk Global Markets Group ICICI Bank Limited, and Mr. Umesh Kumar Mehta, Executive Director, CIO and Fund Manager, Samco Mutual Fund, for their wonderful contribution to the first panel discussion of the day on financialization of gold, challenges, opportunities, and outlook. And would also like to thank our moderator for moderating the discussion so seamlessly. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, a big round of applause for this wonderful panel discussion that we are now concluding. I request all our esteemed speakers to kindly come forward for the group photograph. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion, for your time, and for your valuable inputs.
Whosoever has any questions, please feel free, and I think they will oblige you. Thank you.
Certainly, our audiences can connect with the panelists offline, and you can ask questions. And meanwhile, if there is any feedback that you would like to share, there's a card on the table. Please scan it and share your feedback. We will be delighted to incorporate all those feedbacks in the forthcoming events. Thank you so much. And now, before we start another panel discussion, allow us some transition time so that we can make the arrangements for the same. Thank you.